Hey guys, it's 70. If any of you guys follow me on Twitch or Twitter or Instagram, you know that I'm primarily a graphite artist. Graphite's my jam. This is my latest piece. I'm really happy with it. One of the things that I like about graphite is that you can um, blend and fix mistakes, and really tweak it to where you want it. Ink scares me because you can't do that. But at the same time, like I really love ink and have always wanted to sort of get better with it. So I just bought three different brush pens um, to try out because with brush pens you can get a varied line width and everything else, and there's so much information out there. So I bought the Pentel pocket brush and the Copic Gasenfude. Someone can comment and tell me how to pronounce that. I'll just call it the Copic. And the Kuretake number 40, which is a Sable brush with a converter, and it's got Rapidograph Ultra Draw India ink in it. You can refill the Kuretake and the Pentel. I don't know yet about the Gasenfude because it's a disposable pen. So we'll see. Once that pen runs out, I'm going to break it open and try to disassemble it carefully and see if there's any way to refill it. You should be, if you use India ink, do not use something like, Super Black or Black Cat or anything like that. They will clog your brush pen. Thank you, Internet, for teaching me that ahead of time. You really need to use something like Ultra Draw. If I have my little bottle here somewhere. Yeah. You need to use something like this for technical pens because this isn't going to clog the pen. So, picked up the Pentel pocket brush. It comes with two refills, which is nice. Otherwise, you have to buy them, or you can refill the cartridges with a syringe. This is the Copic Gasenfude. And then finally, with the packaging, this is the Kuretake number 40. Some of the biggest differences between these two pens and the Kuretake is that the Pentel and the Copic have nylon bristles, whereas the Kuretake number 40 has Sable. So if you are vegan or concerned about the ethics of Sable, the Kuretake is not the pen for you. So I'd heard a lot about the Pentel. Seemed to be sort of like the standard, right? This is the one that everybody gets. You can get them from between $10 and $15 online or in store. And I think it's more widely available actually at art stores than these two. Which these you might be able to find it locally. I did find the Copic locally, but generally these are like online order pens. So the biggest thing with the Pentel that I found was you can get tiny little lines. Take out my glasses here. You can get very fine lines out of it, right? From a fine line right down to, like big, heavy areas, wide strokes. And then, of course, if you go fast, you can get a brush stroke, right? That's something that all of these pens have in common. The thing that I found about this pen was that if it's been lying on its side for a while, or if it's been upright with the brush up for a while, you can get those little tiny fine lines. Once it's been upright for a while, and with brush pens you do kind of want to hold them upright, the gravity is just going to drive the ink down into the bristles, and you'll get more ink in the hairs, and those hair thin lines are much harder to get. Sometimes I'll just touch the tip of the brush to the paper with the same amount of pressure, and I'll get this kind of like thick line because the ink just kind of starts flooding out. It doesn't drip, it just starts coming out way too fast. So that's like the biggest drawback, I think, to this pen. If you were trying to do a lot of like really fine lines, after a few minutes, you're going to start struggling with that. That was what I found. Could just be this pen, but that was what I found with it. With the Gasenfude, it also very, very fine lines. She says as she puts down a big one. So you can get nice fine lines out of it, but they're consistent. It's not gonna, it doesn't vary, from minute to minute. This one doesn't seem to have the problem, could just be vacuum or something like that, where the ink starts really coming down. So, and it springs back to a point pretty nicely. I think I paid $4.99 for this locally, but I happen to have like a really good art store, art supply warehouse here in LA. They're online as well, though. You can order it online, and it's $4.99 there. If you can find this somewhere else, it's $7 to $8, and doesn't seem like many places carry it. Amazon doesn't seem to have it, with Amazon Prime at least. But same thing. I think actually I get maybe a better ink flow when doing big areas. Again, it does come back to a point really nicely, and you can still, if you're going fast, you'll get the dry brush. So that's for the Gasenfude. Cheapest out of them, but it's disposable. So take that as you will. I'm going to try and disassemble it when it's empty and see how that goes. Okay, so here's the Kuretake number 40. I'm going to unscrew it real quick just to show you that it doesn't have the normal cartridge in it. It actually has, I think it's made by Sailor, it's a converter that I just filled with the Ultra Draw India ink. Sable hair, you can actually take this part off. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can actually take this part off and expose the entire brush, which is, yay long. The thing about this pen, so this one's all metal, right? It's not cheap. It's $30 to $35 for the pen, another $10 for the converter. One nice thing is that you can replace the Sable tip. If the brush wears out, you can replace it. So this is like a forever pen. Thing is that because it's metal, it's heavy, and once you post the cap, all of the weight is back here. So with brush pens, since you kind of need to hold them upright, for your strokes, it's especially fine lines like this, it's gonna be kind of unbalanced, and that may cause problems after a while. It may tire you out. It may just sort of screw up your strokes, things like that. But I think if you can get past that, it's pretty nice. I did notice the same thing with that I did with the Pentel, which is where the ink kind of starts to flow a little bit fast to the tip. I don't know if it does that with the normal Kuretake cartridge, but from what I understand, the normal Kuretake ink is not waterproof. So if you're going to be using watercolor, that can be a problem. Other than that, I mean, you get nice fine lines. It's very soft. Like when you're using these two and you're moving them on the paper, I mean, you can feel it. There is some feedback from the nylon. Right, you can kind of feel it, you can kind of hear it. This is whisper quiet and whisper soft. I mean, I can't even tell that I'm touching the paper. I'm laying down tons of ink, and I don't feel it at all. I mean, it is really soft. Comes back to a point pretty nicely, and still, it'll do those nice little lines, but still lay down a big patch of ink and do lots of brush strokes. So the way I tested these pens, was not to just sort of, randomly do stuff on paper or my own drawing. What I actually did was I Googled adult coloring pages, and I found this image from, I think his name is Sly Aguilar. I mean, this gave me such, this dude is awesome. Seriously. So I think he used microns on this, so I struggled with a lot of the little tiny lines. But this was awesome practice, just going over an existing image where you've got all of the, line variations, line weights. It was much more interesting than inking something that I was coloring, or that I had drawn. Very challenging because this is so intricate. I actually dipped a small brush in India ink as well, just to try to, check that out and compare it to the others. So I actually had trouble with some of these tiny little lines with the Pentel, and I had to go in with the Copic, because the Pentel just was laying down way too much ink, and I was getting much too thick through here and things like that. So highly recommend this. You just download the image, pop it into any image editing thing, lighten it up so that it's light gray, and then just ink over it. Print it out on whatever marker or ink paper you use and go for it. Really, really, really cool. And again, I'm just gonna write down, God, I hope I have his name right, but it was, let me get the right pen here. I believe it was, let's see, Sly Aguilar. Hope I spelled that right too. So I had to actually look up who the artist was, because all it does is it says very tiny here, Sly 2K10. So mad props to this guy, because his art is amazing and give me much greater appreciation for comic artists. Okay, so I hope that helps. Again, I think out of the three pens, certainly this is the fanciest and it feels the best, but it has the same sort of limitation that the pocket brush did. It's also the most expensive. Pentel pocket brush is, widely available, not too expensive, and it's refillable. I think for out of the Gasenfude I like actually a lot. It's just that it's disposable, right? So, but if you get it from Art Supply Warehouse, it's $5. So, you can get 3 of these for 1 pocket brush, and there's only 2 refills that come with this anyway. So in the long run, this might be about the same price. So as the Pentel, maybe even slightly cheaper in the long run. So well, now because once you start buying the refills, anyway. Yeah, you get it. Hope that's helpful. Just you can base your decision just sort of on your budget and what kind of work you're going to do. So you may actually like the softer, thicker strokes. You may not need tiny little hair thin tapers. That's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.